let's start. Please. Let's start our chapter 12, IPv6 addressing. We did already most of this the stuff here, so I'm going just to add few things that left, right? So I won't gonna go like deeper because we did already this lesson. Yeah. We did even the configuration, so many things about IPv6. So I will just add few things, and what is not really good for you for your Ccna one, I won't gonna give those lessons like to you. I'm gonna keep them for Ccna 2 because some of the things is not really valuable to you. So I'm gonna just leave them for Ccna 2, right? Yeah. You know the difference between. Let's first discuss about IPv4 and IPv6, right? How many bits for IPv4? 32 bits. How many bits for IPv6? How many bits for IPv6? Thank you, 128. 128 bits, right? How many parts for IPv4? 4 parts. Right? How many parts for IPv6?
8.
Right? Yeah. Those 4 parts are going to be separated by what? Those 4 parts are going to be separated by what? By dots. But here we are using what? Right? So A, B, C, D. For IPv4, are we using letters? No, we're using only what? Numbers. But here we are using what?
Letters and numbers.
Letters plus numbers. Right? So those numbers are going from what? From 0 to 9. Right? Letters are going from A to F. Did you understand?
Yeah.
So the letters can only be between A and F. So from A to F. And numbers 0 to 9. Right? And IPv6, it's case sensitive. Right? Means you can use lower cases or upper cases. Still the same. Right? And for IPv4, number of IPs, we are talking about billions. They are like 4 billions. Right? But number of IPv6, 340 and a zillion. So means that 340 followed by 36 zeros. You see how they are a lot, huh? So you put first 340. You add how many zeros? 36 zeros. So this is the total number of IPv6, right? 340 and a zillion. Right? Can I wipe?
No.
Look, I'm just giving you 30 seconds, so you can write and ask maybe questions if you have. Okay, can I wipe now?
No.
Letters plus numbers. Don't forget letters go from A to F, so you can only pick A, B, C, D, E, and F. Right? And numbers 0 to 9. Right? And when we're talking about IPv4, we're talking about billions of IPs. But when we're talking about IPv6, we're talking about 340 followed by 36 zeros. 340 and decillion. Okay?
340 and what?
And decillion. UNDECILLON.
What's the meaning of that?
It means 340 followed by 36 zeros. Okay, we can move forward. Now we are going to talk about IPv4 and IPv6 coexistence. Right? IPv4 and IPv6 coexistence. What does it mean, IPv4 and IPv6 coexistence? It means that there is a way one device can use those two IPs at the same time, right? How a computer can use those two IPs, right? So your PC can have like IPv4 and IPv6, right? Now, how those things are going to operate, how those two IPs are going to operate, right? There is what we call the migration techniques. They will ask you these questions. Migration techniques. How one device can use those two IPs, right? There are methods that you are going to go for, right? There are three types of migration. You can use this table. The first one is what we call dual stack. So for your device to use both IPs, you can go for what? For what we call dual stack. What does it mean by dual stack? Dual stack means that you are going to transport IPv6 packet over IPv4 network. So there are different methods that you can use in order for you to combine those two IPs, right? The first one is what we call dual stack. What does it mean by dual stack? This means that you are going to transport IPv6 over IPv4, right? So it means again this, you are going to encapsulate IPv6 inside IPv4 packet, right? Encapsulate IPv6 inside IPv4. What does this mean? This is your packet, right? Your IPv4 packet, your IPv4 message. But inside this message, you're gonna put what? Your IPv6 inside. Now the message can flow using those two IPs, right? So inside your WhatsApp message, you are going to put what? Your IPv6 like inside that message. So the message will flow, but inside that message you are going to have two IPs. Right? So this is the meaning of dual stack. There are questions they will ask you about this migration techniques. So if you go for dual stack, means that inside my message, you are going to have your IPv6 inside. Right? So this is the meaning of encapsulation. The second one is the tunneling. Tunneling. Oh, I made even the confusion. Yeah, tunneling is the encapsulation. This is encapsulation. So the last one is translation. So those are the three techniques. Dual stack, where you are going to transport your IPv6 over IPv4. Tunneling, this is the encapsulation that I was talking about. The last one is translation. Translation means you are going to convert your IPv4 to IPv6, or you can also translate your IPv6 to IPv4. Alright? But there is no configuration here. Just know those migration techniques, right? So any question here before? So we are talking about how to use those two IPs. How your phone, your PC can use those two IPs at the same time. Now there are techniques that you can use. You can use what we call the dual stack, tunneling, or translation, or NAT64. It's not you who are going to use it, but it's already implemented, right? So the questions can change. They can ask you which method will allow you to encapsulate your IPv6 inside IPv4, tunneling. Which method will allow you to convert or to translate your IPv4 to IPv6, or your IPv6 to IPv4? It's what? Translation, or NAT64. Alright? So any question about those three types of migrations? Right? To summarize, it means this computer can use those two IPs, IPv4 or IPv6, right? Now, there are different methods that you can go for, right, in order to run those two IPs. The first one is what? Dual stack. So dual stack means your PC will have what? Those two IPs, right? Your IPv6 will run on top of what? IPv4. The second one is tunneling. Tunneling means that for every message, your IPv6 will be inside that message. The last one is translation. Translation means that your IPv4 will be converted to IPv6, or your IPv6 will be converted to IPv4. Those are the three types of techniques, right? You don't need to configure for now and so on, just to know that there are three types of migrations, right? Can we move forward? Now we are going to talk about IPv6 address types. IPv6 address types, right? There are three. There are three of them. There is what we call unicast. There is what we call multicast, and there is what we call anycast. Right? Unicast means what? One-to-one. Right? One-to-one. So when your PC wanna talk to another PC, it's unicast IPv6 address that you can use. Right? So when you are sending a WhatsApp message to your friend, means one-to-one communications, right? So unicast is one-to-one. One device that talks to another device. Multicast is one-to-many. One to many. So this type of address, this type of IP will allow one computer to talk to many. And the last one is anycast. One to the closest. Right? So what does it mean? You are going to have so many computers that are going to use the same IP, right? But when you want to talk to the closest one, you can use what we call the anycast IP. Anycast IP, this is the IP address that will allow you to talk to the nearest computer, right? Like here, like all those computers can have the same IP, right? So when I want to talk to the nearest one, so I can use the anycast IP, right? So there are three types of IPv6 addresses. The first one is unicast. This is the IP address that will allow you to talk to a single device, right? When you want to talk to many, you can use the multicast. When you want to talk to the closest one, you can use the anycast, right? So, and there are questions that you're going to find, all right? Can I wipe? Okay, just 1 minute for you to finish, and then I'm going to carry on. So, all right, unicast, multicast, any. Some of the things I'm jumping them because we already did them, like how to represent, the format. We already. Okay. Now we're going to talk about types of what? Types of IPv6 unicast addresses. So types of IPv6 unicast addresses, right? So type of IPv6 unicast addresses, right? The first one is what we call what? I spoke about it. Global unicast, right? You remember this one is what? So this is the public one. So the one that you can use when you want to connect to the internet. Right? So we call it what? Yeah, global unicast. It's a public IP. The IP address that will allow you to be connected to the internet. Right? And how to identify your public? So most of the time it's going to start with what? 2000 or 3000. So between 2000 and 3000. So when you see an IP address, your IPv6 will start with number 2. Means it's what? Yeah, global unicast. Means it's a public IP. Right? So and this IP address, you are going to get them from some of the organizations, right? One of them is Ccna. There's another one. So those two, their job is to assign like IP addresses to providers. Their organizations, their job is to assign IP addresses to providers like telecom, Ccna, and so on, right? They always get the IPs from where? From these two organizations, right? So it doesn't happen by miracle. Like telecom will go to these two organizations. They will give telecom an IP address, like IPv6. Now telecom will do what? Will subnet, will create different IPs and start distributing to you guys. You go there, you buy your modem, your SIM card, and so on. They are going to provide like, to you those IPs, right? But those IPs, they are coming from those two organizations, right? You can learn more about them. You can just type like Ccna if you want to read about them. But you must know that the IPs are coming from these two organizations, right? All those Vodacom, like Ccna, and so on, they are getting the IPs from these organizations, right? And from there, them also they have to subnet, like to split them in thousands of IPs and distribute to us, right? It's very, very organized. Do remember that. So it always starts with what? 2000, so between 2 and 3, right? For the public. The second one is what we call the link local. Link local IP. I told you that even for IPv4, computers can get their own IPs, right? When like your phone, your PC will fail to get an IP address from the wireless access point, your device can get its own IP, right? For IPv4, remember that it always starts with 169, the APIPA one, right? But for IPv6, it always starts with what? FE, right? So when you see something like FE80, we call it link local. Link local means that, right? You know when you run your cables, right? Before even you assigning your PCs IPv6, by themselves they can get what? IPs. That IP, we call it what? Link local. You can even ping, you can even communicate using the link local. And that link local, how you are going to identify that this is a link local? By FE80. There is also what we call the loopback. Loopback.
Loopback.
Yeah. Loopback. Loopback. You are going to identify it by .1. Right? So it means 000, but at the end there's 1. Right? But remember for IPv4, it's 127. 127.0.0.1. But for IPv6, double semicolon 1. right? Slash 28 if you want for subnet mask. Right? Now this lady from Durban, what she wanted. Right? Most of the places you're gonna use this concept when maybe you're a senior person, but most of the time you only mind this smaller stuff. Okay, can I wipe so I can move to 4?
No.
Loop back. Slash 128. Okay. So number 4. Unique local. You remember the unique local? It's what we call a private IP. Yeah? The unique local. Unique local is like a private IP. The one that you can use like inside your organization. It's a private IP. But you cannot use it when you wanna connect to the internet. Unique local or private. Right? So unique local, it always starts with what? Yeah. Like FC, something like that. So you can check this one. FC, it means unique local. It's a private IP. Right? We already spoke about it last time. There is also what we call unspecified. Number 5, unspecified. Unspecified. It's address. Dot. So the unspecified address. Sometimes you wanna communicate to a device, but you don't determine the destination IP. Your computer can use what we call the unspecified address. It's 0. For IPv4, it's 0.0.0.0. For IPv6, so this one means 0. Yeah. This is the unspecified. We do have also the embedded IPv4. Right? The embedded IPv4. You can find it on the data card. I don't want to write it again. Okay, I'm just waiting for you for 1 minute in order for me to write everything, right? What's a pen? Right? So you must be very careful about. But most of the companies now are using the IPv6, but those two are going together. IPv4 and IPv6. They are moving together, right? You know, when you are learning, you have to be serious, because you don't know which type of a person you're gonna be tomorrow, right? And you know, my first college, when I was teaching higher school, right? So I was teaching like in the village, right? Hey, that's like in the village, you know, like rural area. My first place, it was there. One day my girlfriend saw me. He said, "Ah, Issa, you're teaching here? Hey, I don't wanna see you anymore." She kicked me out. But I knew that no. So I was gonna end up here. So this place is just for what? For learning. Hey, I'm telling you, it was like, you know, rural area. Yeah, my girlfriend found me there. So he saw me like I was a cheaper guy, right? He said, how can you come and work here? I said, no, I'm just, I'm just trying. But in my mind, so I was not saying, right? I was not seeing what I was doing there. So when I traveled, my first class guy, hey guys, when I enter my first class, right, by the campus, the whole venue, white and Indian, myself I was shaking. Now God showed me the image of my first rural area at college, right? Now that image and the image that was in front of me, but it was not something new because I was dreaming about it, right? So when you are doing something, when you are learning, don't see yourself for a smaller job, right? You must always see, like, sometimes when I'm saying like this one, it's for senior people, you must put yourself there on the senior position. You must jump already spiritually. Yeah. Right? Okay. Where now we can go? Yeah. Hey, that lady, she discouraged me that day. Eh? When I went back home, I was like, hey, must I resign of this job or what? Right there, there were poor people there. Really? No place to sit, no desk. Hey, that's college. But because of that one, so that college helped me to go like everywhere, right? You know me, I went to best South African universities. So I went to UCT, I went to Stellenbosch, right? So I was lucky to go to all those places because I was dreaming. Not you when you are learning, when you see something that is hard, you say, this one, leave it. No, because this is, sometimes we're going to use it one day. Just take it. When I'm talking about this is for senior people, just take it. Right? Don't leave it. Don't say, so I don't need this one. One day it's going to catch you. One day you're going to be using it, right? Yeah. Okay, let's move to... okay, what else can I... global unicast. So sometimes when you do have this public IP, right, from your provider, this IP will have 3 parts, right? So this global unicast address will have like 3 parts, right? So the first part maybe will identify, will show you that like it's a public. Second part will identify your provider. Third part will identify your company, right? So when you are dealing with a public IP or this global unicast address, there is the first part that will show you that you are using a public. Second part is the part that shows the provider. Like the third part will be what? Your own part, right? So for this IPv6, I don't want to go further. And you have also to understand this. You know in IPv4, right? This is your computer. This is your server, right? So most of the time, you have to request what? Your IP from the server, right? And your server will do what? So you request, and I'm going to give you an IP address, right? By using what we call what? DHCP, right? But for IPv6, we are using DHCP version 6. DHCP version 6 means what? Devices will ask, we call it router advertisement, right? Or router solicitation, router S, Router solicitation means that you are going to ask, like an IP address. When you ask, you are going to get what? Router advertisement. So I'm asking, this is the router solicitation. When they're going to respond to me, it's a router advertisement. RS and RA. Right? So for you to get an IP address, you have to solicitate. You have to ask. Right? And the device that are going to assign to you, that process is called router advertisement. Right? So we already did so many things about this, how to configure and so on, so I don't want to go back there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just download an exercise and assign it to you, give it to you. Right? So what it was important for your Ccna 1, this is what you know. The remaining one we are going to carry on Ccna 2. Right? Thank you very much, guys.